If Krishna was present, why did he remain silent when Draupadi was humiliated? That question has disturbed people for centuries, because if Krishna is the protector of dharma, then silence in the face of injustice feels like abandonment. But this moment was never about absence, it was about exposure. To understand Krishna's silence, we must first correct a common misunderstanding. Krishna was not physically present in the royal assembly of Hastinapura. He was far away. But distance does not limit awareness, and silence does not always mean refusal. What unfolded in that court was not a delay of grace. It was the collapse of every human system that claimed to protect righteousness. When Draupadi was dragged into the sabha, she did not cry out to Krishna. She did not collapse in surrender. Her first response was reason. She questioned the law. She asked whether Yudhishthira had the right to stake her after losing himself. She appealed to the elders, the warriors, the teachers, the kings who had built their lives on the language of dharma. Her question was clear, her logic was sound, her dignity was intact, and the court remained silent. That silence was not divine, it was human. Bhishma knew the answer, but was bound by loyalty. Drona knew the truth, but was trapped by obligation. The kings understood the injustice, but feared consequence. Each person waited for someone else to act, believing righteousness belonged to another seat. This is the part of the story most people avoid. Draupadi was not failed by Krishna first. She was failed by people. The sabha represented law, power, knowledge, and authority. And every one of them collapsed in that moment. Not because they lacked wisdom, but because wisdom without courage becomes decoration. Still, the humiliation continued. Draupadi argued, she questioned, she resisted, and nothing changed. This is where Krishna's silence becomes meaningful. As long as Draupadi stood within the framework of law and ego, grace did not interrupt. Not because she was wrong, but because dharma demands that human systems exhaust themselves before divine intervention enters. Krishna does not replace responsibility. He reveals its absence. The turning point came not when Draupadi was most vocal, but when she was most alone. When reason failed. When power failed. When dignity could no longer be protected by words. Only then did Draupadi let go. She raised her hands, no longer to argue, but to surrender. Not as defeat, but as truth. In that moment, she stopped demanding justice from the world and placed herself fully in alignment. That is when protection appeared, not as punishment, not as spectacle, but as preservation of dignity. The endless cloth was not a miracle meant to shame the Kauravas. It was a restoration meant to save Draupadi from being reduced by silence. Krishna did not arrive to teach a lesson to the villains. He arrived to protect someone who had nothing left to hold on to. This distinction matters. Krishna's intervention did not undo the crime. The war still happened. Consequences still followed. Justice was not immediate. But dignity was restored because dignity cannot wait for resolution. This moment teaches an uncomfortable truth. Krishna does not intervene at the first sign of injustice. He intervenes when all false supports collapse. When ego, law, pride, and expectation dissolve. That does not make him cruel, it makes him precise. If Krishna had intervened earlier, the sabha would have remained unexposed. The elders would have continued believing themselves righteous. The system would have survived without accountability. Silence was necessary for truth to surface. This is why Krishna is often misunderstood. People want a God who interrupts suffering instantly. Krishna offers something more difficult. A God who allows truth to reveal itself fully, even when that revelation is painful. Draupadi was not saved because she suffered enough. She was saved because she aligned completely. That alignment is what grace responds to. This story is not about waiting for help. It is about understanding why help sometimes arrives late. Not because you were unseen, but because something false had to fall first. Krishna's silence was not absence. It was preparation. And when he acted, he did not act loudly. He acted decisively. So when you feel abandoned in moments of injustice, remember this scene carefully. Ask yourself not only where Krishna is, but which supports you are still holding on to. because Krishna does not enter when pride negotiates. He enters when truth stands alone. So now I ask you, was Krishna silent that day? Or was he waiting for the world to reveal itself first? Share what this moment means to you.